up? What up?
What up, though? What's going on, man?
Dude, episode 146, baby.
Hey, let's
Welcome
go.
back, everybody.
Let's go.
To the Carbon Footprint Podcast. He is Juan and I'm Sean, and every week we get together, have a few drinks, talk about things going on in the world, try to focus on things making an impact, whether they be good, bad, or otherwise. Hit them with the drink of the day.
Ooh, we got a fire drink, literally and figuratively speaking, this week, man. It is pineapple spice. It's a little tequila drink, and it adds a little spice to it that's amazing. I love this, man. So it's muddled about 4 slices of jalapeno. Sean might have to step in and help me out. This one's a little complex. 4 slices of jalapeno, a quarter lime wedge if you have a good sized lime, half of a pineapple wedge, and you're gonna muddle that in a shaker. You're gonna add your liquor, which is a shot of Patron, and then a shot of the Patron Citronge, which is the orange liqueur of the Patron.
Yep.
Or half a shot, sorry. So a shot of Patron, half a shot of Citron. You're going to throw in about 2 to 3 ounces of pineapple juice to taste in the shaker. Shake it up with ice, and then pour into a glass, and then garnish with pineapple. Did I miss it? I feel like I missed something. Did I miss something?
No. You put the ice in the rocks glass. And,
That's
and,
right.
and that's it.
Pour it in, and it is delicious, and it's got a little spice and tequila. It's good.
And if you like the spice, man, you can add more jalapeno slices to it. That's why we muddled it, because I wanted to really get that spice out of the jalapenos. And it's really good, man. This is a good anytime drink.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about this, and I know usually we try to post a picture of the drink.
Yep.
And add the recipe.
Yep.
We should start doing it in the YouTube video too. I need to start doing that in the comments.
Oh, I didn't think
so
about
look
that.
out below in the comments on YouTube. Hit like and subscribe first, and then
wherever
we'll have
that
the
is.
recipe. Yeah, somewhere in there. Ding ding, whatever. Insert emoji here pointing to the thing or whatever. But yeah, we'll put that in the description too on the YouTube video. So
that's good, man. I didn't think about that.
I don't know why. It's like let's talk about
like
it. It seems so obvious.
Yep.
So, look at that evolution, episode 146. It took us to figure that out.
Well,
but pineapple spice, people.
We have had a lot of drinks between 1 and 146.
I think as this podcast goes on, we get progressively slower. It's like the evolution of alcoholism. Here's your brain.
Watch these two idiots.
Yeah, here's your brain on liquor.
Over years.
We're going to be a study one day, bro. It's like, here's 2020, 45 and 33 or whatever, and then it's going to be like fast forward to now. Find the worst picture of us.
That's insane, bro. We just said 2020. Like, how we started.
3 years ago, man.
Like, 3 years ago, what, April? May? No, I think it was May.
No,
it was May, right?
It was first week of May. Yeah. First week of May, 3 years, so yeah.
Fucking nice.
So we had our pod anniversary. Yeah, like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Crazy, dude.
All right, man. What you got for your carbon footprint this week?
Listen, man, I don't know how this story isn't wild, because, again, this is impactful to what we know about the world.
Okay.
What, I just think, and we always have these conversations about maybe technology or the world's progression isn't a linear thing. Like, maybe it's been circular, right? And we just had like this massive reset at some point in time. And I feel like this almost sort of like I guess helps that theory out. So archaeologists discovered in Guatemala, so between Guatemala and Mexico, in essentially this massive jungle that's really hard to get to. Like, I think they have to take a helicopter ride and then hike 40 miles to get to the sites that they're working on right now. So not easy to get to, and it's infested with like jaguars and all kinds of, like, it's not a safe hike. But anyway, they've discovered 417 ancient Mayan cities buried inside of the remote jungle. But that's not even the biggest part of this. It's like they're literally cities spread across this area.
Okay.
Connected by super highways. So these have become the first highways known to man. But highways to where they have off ramps. There's hydraulic lift systems to change elevations.
Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Insane.
Hydraulic lift systems, bro?
There's the cities contain like some, possibly they're thinking, because they're still sort of uncovering some of the largest buildings known to civilization at that time and forward. So might be the largest. Like, this is Egyptian pyramids level discovery of and these things are like the historians basically, they have to rethink everything they thought about ancient Mayan civilization. Like even the Americas, like South America, it was much more advanced than people thought. They thought they were more primitive. I think when you talk about Mayans in that era, did you think more hunter gatherers? And this is showing this was a very technologically advanced, maybe the most technologically advanced civilization, and it's dating back 3,000 years, about 1,000 years BC. Bro. So this is 1,000 years BC. Like it is literally to me, like I told you before, I thought it was a hoax. Like I'm reading the thing, I'm like, this might be one of the greatest discoveries in our lifetime.
Yeah,
as far
and now
as
with AI, right? You never know what the fuck you're gonna see.
Right, and so you think it's fake,
right?
So you're like, there's no way.
You see a whole Mayan city, you're like, oh yeah, that's AI.
Dude, the more that I read about it, just the more ridiculous it got. Like the complexity, they're saying the sophistication behind the architecture, like everything from the buildings to there was sports fields that they can see were there. There was buildings that they can tell were reservoirs. There's dams. There's like platforms, as I said, change elevation with hydraulic systems. There's causeway networks, so it's highways and then roads off of that, so like neighborhoods. There's
dude, I'm waiting for somebody to find like a fucking like whatever version of car.
Oh my God,
they were using, right? Like if there was a vehicle that they were using or
something,
or was it horse and buggy,
but
that's what we think, right?
Maybe, right? But this whole thing, even dam systems and all that, like plumbing and all, like this is, I'm thinking like Roman, ancient Rome, like it's like that level, possibly bigger than even now. We're finding out that the Egyptians might have been like, obviously they were super advanced, but we're thinking they're maybe even more advanced than we've been led to believe this whole time.
Yeah.
But this is like, it changes everything we've ever thought, especially about this side of the world, dating back that far. Like it's no longer hunter gatherers. It's like, no, these were very sophisticated. There's signs of like government, and there's signs of imperial systems of there being like emperors, but then very sophisticated high-end societies and classes and all this kind of stuff. It's like these weren't the hunter gatherers that we thought, and that's what we think of when we think of Mayans. And I'm just like, how is this just like one of those stories that you just scroll past, and like I'm like, this is huge. This possibly one of the greatest, if not the greatest, I think, discovery in our lifetime for sure. I mean,
so when was this discovered?
Back in December, they're saying that sort of the paper was published, but so they've been working out here for like
6 months behind on this,
and they've been out there for at least 8 years, obviously, because this is a lot to uncover. Because they're saying this is hundreds of miles of highway that they've discovered. It's 417 cities, but it's 117 miles of highway that connects them.
So I wonder, like, being this is, I'm assuming this is, like you said, it's in a jungle area.
It's in
right?
jungle area that's uninhabited.
How do you go there and then uncover this stuff? Are you now destroying the jungle to get to it?
Evidently, it's like, you're having like excavations and you're digging certain areas at a time, but they're saying it's still difficult to get to. Like it's still a helicopter ride to a spot and then a 40-mile hike from there. It takes days to do it, if not weeks, just to get to it. And obviously now trying to get help and trying to get people to basically, they want to unearth the whole thing.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you definitely want to know, like, right, like what technology were they using back then, right? Like just the fact that you said like hydraulic highways, that that's insane, bro.
We don't even have that now.
I was just gonna say we're behind.
Yeah, like I guess in that sense, as we've created these like, I don't know, elevation changes and I don't know, drawbridges or something, or not even drawbridges. Sorry, they're like meant to cross waterways, but like the ramps, off ramps, and on ramp. But they have those, and then they're saying there's like elevation changes. So yeah, I guess for us, we would have built a bridge that just goes up. They're like, no, we take it to a point, lift it, keep going. Like it's
wow, bro.
It's, and obviously not full highway like we have now, right? There probably isn't traffic. It's like one dude rolls up.
So who's leading this?
It's a team. Yeah, it's a team of Americans actually and Guatemalan archaeologists. So archaeologists at San Carlos University in Guatemala City, and the co-author of the paper is Enrique Hernandez. They said obviously there's further work, and it could be as influential as the discovery as the Egyptian pyramids. Actually, it's kind of quoting that.
And you know what? There's still so much about the pyramids that we don't know, right? We don't know exactly how we built them. And dude, I've never sort of dove into the pyramids, but I saw a picture recently, and it showed a guy buy like one of the pyramid bricks.
Yeah.
it's in the size of it. I mean, is insane.
It's insane.
And
There's
you go like,
no
how
way
did
they got that there.
Right, like how does it get there, and how do they take each one of those and do that with without some type of technology? And then people say, oh, the aliens helped them, whatever. The it's like the rock people in fucking Noah. You see that movie?
No,
bro. So Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a movie called, I think it's called Noah. Russell Crowe plays.
Okay, I've heard of the movie. Yeah, I've never watched it.
And it's about the flood.
Okay.
And as I'm watching it, there's rock. I don't even know how to describe them. They're rock people.
And they help.
They're giant rock people.
Okay. So
that thing that help him build the shit. And I was like, oh, now it makes sense.
You should have led with that. Dude, even the pyramids thing, man, I've been listening to podcasts of these people who be like experts, and the way they've talked about it, it's just blowing my mind about how they I think we got this all wrong and what they think. And then talking about like the bricks, they're like, you couldn't have, it can't be a chain of slaves hauling one brick across the desert 100 miles, whatever it is, right. Like hundreds of miles. It's like, there has to be, and I know there's talk about the river and how they put them on barges maybe and move them, because the other thing is
still when the barges fucking stop,
you have to drag it. They're like, it's an insane distance to get it. So they're like, no, there's something that we don't know.
There's something
about.
We don't know.
Yeah. And I think this is one of those things where I'm like, I've always had this feeling. I'm like, there's no way that this is the first time in time that we've been,
you've mentioned that on the pod before.
Yeah.
Man.
Like, I just find that hard to believe, man. And I don't know. Anytime something like this pops up, obviously I've never seen anything of this magnitude. For me, like it just helps me geek out, because I almost feel like sort of vindicated, because it's like there's got to be a time where humans got this far, or close to, or whatever that version was of then. And
then something just wipes you out and brings you back to the beginning.
We didn't get smarter. You know what I mean? Like, yes, we're smarter in the sense that we have access to more information now, right? But and so the ease of information is easier to sort of get around, or so we think, than it was back then. But like, these people thrived for thousands of years before us, and like the car wasn't like horse and buggy. You're saying, like, there's no way that someone didn't have that idea of a horse and buggy before we think we did 1,000 years ago,
right? But also to the point of the horse and buggy, it's like, if you got highways with hydraulics, you're probably not driving horse and buggy.
No, there's something there
else
that's being and it's like, maybe it's not a combustion engine or whatever.
Right.
Like,
but
it might be
else.
shit that doesn't exist any longer. That's better, or that's it's water powered,
that's not
or whatever.
Right,
that's
whatever
not, or it does, or suck, and it's not. But it's still something we don't know about. It's like, we powered it with soil. Like, who knows? Like, it's just, I think there's gonna be shit that we just haven't discovered yet. That's like, oh wow, you guys figured that out. Like, again, just travel and just. Even like, you hear like all these stories about people crossing, sort of the theories of people crossing using during the Ice Age, the ice bridges, and getting across from that side of the world and making their way all the way down to South America. I'm like, is it that, or is it like, is a boat not like the more likely scenario of boats and boats full of people just washing up in these places? And I don't know, like, I'm sure there was some of that, but
but we'd probably be naive to think that
everybody
was just walking.
Right. There's got to be
thousands of miles.
And so I see this and I'm just like, man, there's got to be, and even like, with ancient Rome in itself, like I'm obsessed with ancient Rome. Like, I love the history, but they ran this massive city with millions of people in there, and they had food and water, and they ran businesses, and they did, there's no way. I think even Rome probably was more advanced than we give it credit for, but it's probably the most intact place I think that we can find that sort of shows the evidence of that.
Right.
But I think this just shows like there was Rome's 1,000 years before Rome. Like, it's just nuts, man. It's so cool, man.
That is freaking crazy. Man.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. What a cool discovery. And I'm like,
I don't even know what to say, man. It's just like it's mind blowing. And you wonder, we always kind of joke around that one day the earth is gonna shake us off like fleas, and I actually heard that from a friend of mine years ago, man. He told me that, and I was like, it's a fucking great line. Shout out to Dave. Yeah. But it's like, you wonder when things like this are discovered, is it the massive reset to where Earth is able to, okay, like, you guys are doing too much shit, like, shake us off like fleas,
It's
right?
its own evolution,
Right. And
Right.
then you go, okay, like it will still allow you to live here, but you got to start over because as the earth needs to replenish.
right?
You know what I mean?
It's almost its own way of evolving for survival over time. Like, you know, like they say
the
we do.
planet needs to survive.
The planet needs to survive,
Right.
and it's going like, okay, I gotta
Like,
evolve.
enough.
I gotta make it
Yeah.
too hot here, so these motherfuckers move from this area. I gotta make it too cold over here, so you people move from there, and then eventually I gotta shake some of you guys off.
Yeah, right.
Cause starting to itch.
That's too much.
It's kind of wild, man. Like it's just
And why, you know what, when you talk to, I mean, I don't talk to any astronauts, but when you read about astronauts and especially the ones, you know, here in the U.S. that have spent time on the space station, they say that when they look at Earth from space, it looks like a living, breathing organism. The planet does. The planet itself looks like
it's alive.
Like it's alive.
I believe that, man. And then it made me think of something you always say here. It was like, we're so much smaller than we think we are.
Oh my God.
Like,
bro.
and this shit just proves it, where we're just like, yo, these people, like, if they uncovered this entire thing and you get to the depths of what this really was, like, it's already impressive.
Yeah.
But as they start to sort of discover more and you find out that it was, say, a civilization very similar to ours, or even, you know, to use ancient Rome again, like ancient Rome, and you just go, we didn't even know they existed.
Right.
For it just shows
So
how
all their
insignificant
technology
we all are.
and everything is just lost.
Gone.
Yeah.
All of it. All of your, it just, again, it makes you think of all the shit that we stress about on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Wonder, like, you're going to be forgotten the minute you're fucking gone, bro. People are going to mourn you for 2 weeks, and then they're going to forget you existed too. And it's just like, and I'm not saying that to be like depressing. It's just, it's more of a, do you, because we're so insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Like, we're not special, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
And even worse or better, however you want to look at it, than that. Not only will you be gone and forgotten, there's a chance that your entire society is wiped off the face of the map and history.
In history, like I don't even think we've ever thought of that, of the possibility that 1,000 years from now, people don't even know that we existed in the way that we existed and that we were a civilization.
Right.
Like,
we assume that.
We assume everybody's going to know
history.
we were here.
Yeah. History will.
Google us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Don't Google us. You know what I mean? Like, and I think
so
we have this
funny.
assumption because of this digital age, and of course there's going to be, you know, but
Yeah. Like it'll only get better.
yeah, it's just nuts, man. And it could. It very well could.
Absolutely.
But, you know, we could also get shaken off the
And like you said, and then buried.
dude buried
Right.
under, yeah.
Like the civilization just gets buried.
Because who knows what happens to that, right? Is that an asteroid? Is that a, you know?
Who knows? Is it a volcano? Is it whatever? Fucking
right.
tsunami?
So right.
Fucking glaciers melting
Just move
underwater?
because of global warming. Then is that you know, like cyclical? Is it
Right.
you know, a weather event? Is it an earth event? Is it an earthquake? Is it, you know, who knows? And just, or is it a bunch of people just abandoned because there wasn't shit to eat? You know, like, it can be anything.
Right.
But even, I guess, even those people didn't make it somewhere to tell that story that got documented, that, you know what I mean? So it's just nuts, man. I'm like, yeah, we're so insignificant, bro. But this is such a, you know, again, spirit of the show, like leaving an impact. I'm like, this is crazy. This is like earth changing information, I think, like, in the terms of how we understand our world, man, and our history.
I think that something like this is so important. And I've heard nothing about it, and everything that I read like pales in comparison to this discovery.
Oh my god!
And when I think about the amount of bullshit that I read on a daily basis.
Oh, you don't want to know about Bud Light sponsors? That's not at the top of your warning to read about,
like,
today.
Oh my god! All right, man. Well, my carbon footprint is not as earth shattering, but definitely impactful to some people. There's a school in Detroit. It is the Oakland Schools Technical Campus Northeast, where it's a technical school, obviously, where students go there to specialize in carpentry, house additions, or like electrical work. One of the instructors, Aaron Sweat, I hope I pronounced that correctly, led a project to build it was over a 1,300 square foot home from the ground up. It was like one of those like pre-manufactured homes. You can put them on a truck and fucking take them somewhere.
Okay.
So he used the students, and his hope was, these guys and girls are all specializing in sort of like one area, and he wanted to give them the gamut of everything. Like, you're gonna do electrical work, you're gonna be exposed to electrical work, even though you're in carpentry, you're supposed to electrical work. You're gonna so they got these students and they built this house, bro, and they actually worked alongside like professional tradesmen to do this, and they ended up they used about $100,000 in material, and it went on the market for about $170K, but it's being taken to like low income families.
Oh, okay.
Because I think $170K is like about half of the national average.
Okay.
For a home.
For a home right now.
Yeah, for a home.
Yeah, that's right. The average home price right now is like $350,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they were doing this, and so helping out with like low income housing, but from a student's perspective, they interviewed one of the students, and he was like, "Yo, when we finished it, it was like, look what we created."
That has to feel.
You know what I mean? And then of course knowing that I was gonna kind of go to a good cause, and so I gave those guys my carbon footprint. Shout out to Oakland School's technical campus in Detroit. Detroit doesn't get a lot of credit for much. But there's definitely some people up there trying to make a difference. So shout out to those guys.
Dude, is Detroit? Yeah, shout out to these guys, man. That's just an amazing accomplishment. But also, is this part of the story of Detroit's sort of comeback? Like Detroit's been on this, few decades sort of run of it's. I mean, we've all joked about how just shitty it looked and depressing it looked in Detroit, but I was thinking about this the other day as it came to real estate. Is it stupid not to purchase some real estate in Detroit right now?
Probably.
Because some of it is so just cheap. And it's and obviously it was one of the wealthiest cities in the country for a long time. And then you go, do you buy one of these old historic homes and then, help be part of that revitalization, and then, maybe it's a vacation property, it's an Airbnb thing, whatever, but like, is it silly not to look at Detroit? And I look at like stories like this where you go, there's going to be, it's funny because it isn't going to be like this one big thing where this developer comes in and does it all.
No.
It's like been these pockets of people just
and
doing
it'll be
this
years
cool
and years,
stuff.
man.
Yeah, and it'll be over time. Because one of the things I did love about Detroit, and I hope that they keep around, the downtown area had a lot of these buildings that looked abandoned, but they also looked very historical. They're like skyscrapers almost.
Okay.
That had these really cool, like the architecture was cool, but a lot of them were empty, or they were like, they were thinking about converting them to condos, doing this and that, and some of them were talking about like bulldozing them. I'm like, man, I wish they would just revitalize them and turn them into like condos or whatever in there, because you're living in a part of history of not only for that city but the country, and I would say the world, because the car industry in Detroit was literally just. I mean, the only thing you could compare it to is like probably like railroad industry and that. So like the size and the magnitude of wealth and influence, it was.
Yeah, could you imagine like Detroit getting kind of buried, like kind of the civilization that you just talked about?
I mean, and
right?
that's kind of what's happening to it, right? Like, would if someone today, like, I mean, a teenager today would go to Detroit and you tell them what it used to be, they would never believe you.
Yeah.
Like someone who grew up there today, maybe like a 15-year-old, and you go, hey, like this used to be. You show them pictures of Detroit from the 50s, and they're probably like, nah, that's not. Like, it's crazy.
Dude,
man.
remember, it's not just the 50s, man. That shit went through. I mean, they were thriving in the 70s and the 80s.
No, absolutely.
Still,
but there's like Gilded Age mansions from the early to mid 1900s in Detroit where you had all these executives from these car manufacturers and all this stuff like where they were built, and then like it's been like a slow fall, and then we had that major collapse like for us in our lifetime of like '08. Yep. But Detroit has like steadily, like there's like whole neighborhoods from like the late 80s, early 90s that were like abandoned.
Oh,
and they're high-end
really?
neighborhoods because those people were like, time to bail.
Yeah.
And so it's been like this slow progression with like these massive dips and then another slow and then a massive dip.
Okay.
Like there's just never been like a uptick for them, man. It feels like, but dude, these stories like that, you hear people like, doing these types of things. Like I keep hoping for that because the history in it is so cool. Like there's something, I don't know if you had this, like, I did have this like, man, this is a shithole, but there was something cool about talking to the people there are so fucking proud of being from there.
Oh my God,
it's just so nuts. And you're just like, okay, you can't teach that or you can't like manufacture that. Like that's I don't know where that comes from, because they grew up in an era that means the people who raised them grew up in this like, their vision of Detroit and the pride that they had in the city just carried on to that generation. So it's so funny because I'm like, this place is a shithole. But everybody who lived there, I'm like, why don't you guys leave? They had no interest in leaving.
No.
Like no interest in leaving, and they thought it was the coolest place ever.
There was somebody at the place where we worked at the time that took me around just real quick, maybe like a 20-minute kind of walk around the area, and the way that they spoke about it was like that, just like very prideful.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, like over here, and it was like, this used to be XYZ, and now they're revitalizing it, and so because it was in that downtown area that was actually being like built up. It's over there by the
Convention Center, don't know?
No. Who's the money lender?
Oh, Quicken Loans.
That one.
Yeah.
By the Quicken Loans building. So it was that area. It was that whole area was being revitalized. And yeah, like the people from Detroit, they had no interest in leaving. Like I said, no interest in leaving. And really proud of the area.
And really proud. And yeah, I would love to see that city bounce back, man. So shout out to Oakland Park. Mm-hmm. So shout out to these Oakland Park schools, man.
I don't know. It says Oakland Schools Technical Campus.
Schools Technical.
I don't know if it's Oakland Park.
Oh yeah, shout out to these guys, man. That's
but dude,
cool.
You know what? And I was thinking about this stuff, and I go like these kids or young adults, entering these fields are like, what better place?
Oh my God.
Right? What better place to enter this, because that place needs a lot of work.
Oh yeah,
it needs those kind of workers, man. So hopefully the folks graduating from this technical college, we'll have sort of like lifelong careers, because there is a lot of work to do.
Oh my God, yeah, there's a lot of work, and like you said, hopefully, they get scooped up and are able to help revitalize the city that they're from, and because I would love to see that place bounce back, man. That's there's just remnants of it that you're like, this looks like it was such a cool place. Like like go back to the collapsed civilization. You're just like, I can feel just how cool it probably used to be.
Yeah.
It's like, feels like that old Americana. So yeah, man. So shout out to these guys, man. Hopefully it'd be part of that
Dude,
rebuild,
and
man.
I think that's one of those fields too, man, like the carpentry and just like building houses or electrical work. It's those careers where you can actually make a lot of money. Like you're not necessarily capped.
Right.
You don't have to work for someone and get a paycheck. Like you can actually go out, and whether it's flipping homes or being a part of a group that flips homes, or going out and just doing your own thing of doing additions.
Yeah, like your earnings potential are unlimited.
Yeah.
Only you're the cap.
It's time. Yeah, it's time is the cap.
Yeah, it's true. Like it's all on how much time you're willing to put up, and how much time you have.
Yeah, and like you said, right? Are you a loner worker, or can you start your own company and have other carpenters or other electrical guys under you? Yeah. Like you said, it's essentially limitless. And
and are you satisfied? Like, are you happy with where you are? Like, oh, I've done enough, kind of thing. Like, it's.
So you know what? You had something on here, just kind of flagged me on it. Something about being happy with how much money you make.
Yeah. I was reading this article recently. It was like about, the whole idea that money doesn't buy happiness. Mm-hmm. And the premise of the article was that the study finds that more money can actually buy happiness. Like there's caveats. But the study was conducted by a Nobel Prize winning economist and a few other researchers.
Okay.
And it found that money does appear to increase happiness. So they contradict like previous beliefs and like these sayings that we've said that like, hey, money doesn't buy happiness. And then there used to be this study that said the happiness taps out at $75K a year. So the thing was, the belief was if you make $75,000 a year, it's the old idea was that anything over $75,000 you're not any happier.
Okay.
Like you're happier. So the study acknowledged that money does not always buy happiness, but it does tend to contribute to an increase in happiness levels more often than it does not, which I absolutely can see that. Like, it's old, like whoever said money doesn't buy happiness didn't have enough of it. Like, it's like, I can absolutely see for a vast majority of folks, a lot of their problems get solved by money if they're smart with it. I mean, they could exacerbate their problems as well.
I was just going to say, you can become more of who you are, right? Like if you're a spender, and if you make,
you're just going to be more
you're just going to spend more.
But I think, the thing that money does buy you, and the more of it, it buys you flexibility and freedom, assuming the money doesn't own you, but it's just like
or the stuff that you buy doesn't own you.
Correct. Yeah, you go. Yeah, it's a better way to put it. But it's like the money buys you sort of that that piece or the flexibility or time, because I think money's the only thing that can buy you back time. Like I think it's why we spend money on certain things, right? The convenience, like Ubers and Uber Eats and that sort of shit. It's like I order groceries online, I have it delivered. I don't want to spend that hour in a grocery store. I want that time back. I think money does buy you that time. Then you can spend that time doing things that make you happy. Then I think it does. I've always been a believer that it doesn't solve all your problems, but it certainly does. And listen, there's more problems that come with a certain level of money,
Of course.
but I think for the vast majority of people, I can see money will definitely. It's not going to make you sadder. That's for damn sure.
No, I don't think it does that. Definitely. But I will say, and probably as a younger person, I do remember, and I don't remember when exactly this happened, but I remember like as I was sort of like having some more years in my career and maybe switching companies and sort of getting those raises and being excited about certain raises, right? So like if you got $10,000 more, you get $20,000 more, and it always sounded or felt like more than what it was. I always remember, no matter what the raise was, the take home pay never seemed to be as much as I thought. And this is without sort of calculations. It's just kind of a mental note when you go
It's like anecdotal of how you're looking at it.
Yeah, right. Where it's like, oh shit, like I'm making, whatever, 20 G's more than I was in my last place. And I'm going to have, that's, you do like the quick math breakdown and you go, okay, well that's X amount of money per month. And that's what I'm going to have. And it's just like, well, no, you get taxed. And then there's more going to taxes. There's more going to your 401k. And if you have a family, right, like it's insurance and it's everything else that comes out of that. And then it ends up and you go like, huh.
That's
like it wasn't really, dude, it wasn't really all that I thought it was going to be.
There's an amount there. There's an amount past a certain amount of, let's pick a number. Let's say the number's 100K a year. Okay. There's a number from say that 100K to 150 or whatever. Like I'm just picking a number where you go, the raise, you go, oh, I didn't. Uncle Sam got one. 'Cause you get less of it. It feels like yeah, I made more money, but it might be like you might get 20K more a year, and you go, how come it feels like I only got 5? Like because like it's like you said, like the more you make, there's more takers. There's like this like, and I actually agree with this study because they have this interesting take on the 75K.
Okay,
and I feel like looking at. I think, like sort of my position in life, I can see this number being why it is, right? Like, so they said the new number, they feel like it's closer to 500,000.
From 75?
Yeah, that's how much bigger it is, right?
Was the last study like 20 years ago?
But I think, dude, like going like picking that number, let's say it's 100K, right?
Okay.
I think from 100 to 200 or 150 or whatever we're saying, it's like it doesn't feel any bigger. And so then at some point in time, at that 2 to 3, you figure your tax bracket goes up again. And then there's like, okay, you're not getting as much of that either. Like the number sounds crazy, but in reality, you're not getting a lot of that back, right? And so you go, okay, so from 2 to 300, if you go to 5, then that feels like, yes, I'm still paying probably a shit ton in taxes, right, but now I'm taking home maybe 200 or 300 of that instead of, dude, because at 500K a year, you're taking home maybe 280, 290 if you're lucky, depending on where you live.
At 500K?
Yeah, 500K a year, bro, you might
take home half?
Yeah, in certain cities. If you live in New York City or California, bro, you're taking home maybe 280, 290. Wow. Right? If you live in Florida, you're keeping a little more of that. If you live in Florida, you're
Texas.
You're keeping maybe 380. Yeah, Texas, but obviously, other things aside, assuming you don't have anything else, just straight up tax. You figured if the tax rate is 22% for whatever it is now, 20%.
Fuck, but 400K puts you in the 1%, right?
Dude,
I think it's 400K.
90K puts you. No. Oh, it's a 2%. Sorry, the top 3%. I think there's a big thing. There's I think you're in the top 3 to 5%, just at 6 figs. It's something crazy like that. And then I think 2% is 400K.
Okay.
It's something like that.
Maybe 5. Maybe not. Maybe now 5 is the 1%.
Dude, I think worldwide, if you make over like 40
like
or 30,000,
yeah,
you're in the top 3% worldwide, which is crazy to think of. Yeah. I think in the U.S., hold on. In the U.S., I feel like you're in that top 5% if you're over 6 figs. Let me see. Top 5. earners in U.S. Oh, here we go. Annual wages. 10%. Okay. The top 1% is 597,815. So to get into the 1%.
So say like 600K.
Yeah.
Gets you one. Because I want to say a few years ago it was 400.
Yeah. And then they're saying that more people actually reached that. Like in 2020, that number was 823K. But let's see. On the top 1%. Okay, so up 5%, 342.97. Okay, so I was off. Okay, top 10% of earners are 173.
Top
Average
10%?
wage. So top 10%. So top 5%, you're at 342.987. And then top 1%, you're now at 823.763. And then if you're in the top 0.1%, you're at 3.2 million.
Okay. Yeah, to me, man, money's always one of those things where it's not really how much you make, it's how much you spend.
No, that's very true.
And so, like, if it just depends on what kind of lifestyle you're trying to have. And if you can live kind of within your means,
Then
like,
it's
to me, like, that's just for me, like, that's happiness, right? Like, if you are able to, you know, have money to do some experiences and kind of enjoy life and whatever that means to you, you know, enjoy life. Like it could be fucking coaching your kids' baseball team. It could be, you know, going on a couple of vacations a year. It could be whatever. It could be fucking, I don't know, whatever. It could be only working 6
whatever
months a
your
year,
number,
right? Whatever
yeah.
it is.
Dude, success should be measured by your level of happiness, essentially, at doing whatever it is, right?
I think so, man.
Yeah.
It's just like, be happy in what you're doing, but as far as money is concerned, it's just like, as long as you have enough money to kind of do the things that you want to do, and you're content with that to me is like happiness, man.
I say, give me more money. Let me find out what that number is. Dude, and just going back to this, those numbers are from 2020 and 2021. And actually the disparity by state is fascinating. If you make 350K, you're probably in the less than 1% in West Virginia.
I was gonna say, oh yeah.
But in Connecticut, to get into the 1%, you have to be at 900,000.
Almost three times.
Yeah, almost 3 times that. But so nationwide, you're in the top 1%. If you, nationwide, you are in the top 5%. Where's the number here? It was 240. Yeah, 240K to crack the top 5% in the U.S. So the number's like dropping. So
that's funny, man.
Yeah, and then 1% earned 600K. In that, it were 597,815, so 600,000. So this is as of 2021 labor statistics. I wonder when the 22 numbers get published. Probably not ready yet. But and it's just to look at this by state, it's crazy because obviously the Northeast extremely expensive. Connecticut, New York. Top 1% in New York is 777. What I do find awfully low is the top 5%. It's 265.
Oh, wow.
You live like a peasant in New York at 265.
No, that's not true, bro. You're doing good. You're doing good.
Let's see where Florida ranks here. Dude, top 5% in Florida is 223.
Okay.
And then top 1% is 623, which is interesting. So the top number is higher, but the middle-ish number is lower. In Texas, 237. Yeah, man. These are, let's see who's low. Wyoming, top 5%, 212. I didn't even know they paid with money in Wyoming. Nevada, 205. They still trade things over there, horseshoes or some shit.
Bro, let me tell you who don't need money anymore. Tina Turner.
God damn. Put some respect on her name.
No, man. You know, we talk about everything on here, people. Don't take offense to it. Tina Turner, God bless her.
Queen of rock and roll.
Queen of rock and roll, dies at 83 years old. They said of natural causes, but I think that she had some stuff
disease,
with,
right?
like, I don't know if it's a disease, but yeah, sorry. I think she had some kind of like a, was it kidney disease?
Okay, yeah, I heard that she was
And
fighting
she
an
had
illness.
some high blood pressure and stuff like that. But they said she died of natural causes.
Isn't that natural, I guess?
Yeah, I guess so, man. 83 years old. So, you know, it's not one of those things where I can look at and go too soon.
No. It's not tragic. It's sad.
Right. It's
not
tragic. Right. It's sad. It's sad because of what she was able to kind of give to the world, right, with her talent.
Yeah. What a life.
But yeah, what a crazy
life.
life, man, that she had. So, I mean, as a kid growing up and hearing her music and not knowing the backstory, and then as an adult kind of learning the backstory of her with Ike and all the abuse that she went through.
And also someone who got that level of success way later. Because she had like sort of 2 careers almost, or 3.
Oh, yes, that's right.
You know, like, she had the Ike run and then not fell off, but like kind of disappeared, went away for a while, probably to, you know, cope with shit and work shit, and then got big again in like her 40s.
Yep.
As a solo act.
And that's when I saw.
And so and that would have been your exposure to her.
Like in the 80s.
In the 80s. Man, what I was looking at how, you know, like she passed away in her home in like Switzerland.
In Switzerland, yeah, which is odd. I go, oh shit, I didn't know you were.
And they were so then I was watching like interviews and stuff with her, and they were asking her why she's there, and she's like, yo, I'm loud and whatever on stage, but I like my peace. My idea of a getaway is like, give me a book and put me somewhere in nature, and da-da-da. So that's why. So she had a house in the south of France, I guess, until like 20 years ago, and then she moved to Switzerland, or maybe like 15 years ago, something like that, and then has been there ever since. She goes like, I just like the whole nature of it or whatever. And then when they showed her house, I'm like, beautiful.
Oh, really? I haven't seen it.
Oh my, it's ridiculously like $75 million compound or something in Switzerland, but you know, in the middle of the wilderness, and you know what you would expect from someone of her stature. But I thought it was, you know, going to like the happiness thing. It's like the money and the fame, the notoriety bought her her piece of like paradise, her happiness in that sense of like.
Dude, when I saw that she was living in Switzerland, I immediately thought like, there's somebody who traveled the world, you know, because of what she did.
Yeah.
Right, because of the entertainment, and then eventually found somewhere that she goes,
I want to be here.
This is amazing.
Yeah, I want to be here. Like you said, been everywhere, and then went, yeah, this is where I want. This is amazing. This is yeah.
Where's that place for you? Like, is there a place that you've been that you go, I think like I want to come back here, or I think it would be dope to live here?
Spain for me is probably the only place I've gone to so far that I go, I could live here. I want to live here. I want to experience this. Like, yeah, I would say, because I've been to places that I'm like, really cool, I'd visit again. I couldn't see myself living in a lot of them. Spain for me was probably the place, specifically Barcelona, was the city that I went to that I went, oh, I could live here. Like, this is like, and it was because it sort of scratched all my itches, I guess was the best way I can describe it. Is I'm a city kid. I like to be in a city. I'm not I don't like the country thing. I don't do the country there. It's just not my thing. So it's like in Spain, but I also love the beach, like, and I love that. And so Barcelona is like a really cool city where like you could be in a sort of metropolis feeling downtown in the evening for dinner, but that morning you could be on the beach. Maybe midday for lunch, you could be in a Gothic quarter that gives you that old European feel, that you feel like you're in a historic, old European city, because you are.
Yep.
And then suddenly you're in this like really hustle and bustle, really busy financial district that looks like you're in New York City. And then you could drive and go up into the mountains like an hour away. It's just like, and really cool is you can be on the beach and you can look in the distance and see mountains, and you're just like, holy shit. And then from that side, then you could see ocean. Like, it's just like, for me, it was cool. The public transportation was cool. Obviously the people, the food, all of it. To me, Spain was just I forget what it was we talked about on here once, where there's certain things that just make you feel like home or like you belong there.
Yeah.
And I have felt like an outsider in most of the cities you visit, because you're like, okay, I don't want to do this. That place felt like, oh, this feels familiar. I don't know what it is about it, but it feels familiar. Like, it feels like I've been here. Like, I don't know how to describe that, but like, yeah, that for me, Barcelona was that for me. Like, it was like, oh, I could live here. Like,
I have not been to many places, at least as far as, and I guess I'm comparing myself to people that I know, like yourself, and like we've worked with people that have traveled the world. Like I think I look at some of the people that we know, and go, I've been nowhere.
Yeah,
in comparison,
like
right?
Anywhere, yeah.
But I'm sure there's somebody else that would look at me and go like, oh, you've done a lot. You've been in places.
Yeah.
The place for me that I really enjoyed was Aruba, and I don't like it was like obviously it's a small island, so it's surrounded by a beach, and I do love the beach. It's also a desert.
It's very
like a
unique
desert. It's really unique, and it's humid, which is odd. So it's like a humid desert by the beach.
Trans Island.
But but the people there, you talk about like it's the only and I've been to like some of the Caribbean islands. It's the only place where I go, oh wow, these people are really on what they call like island time.
Yeah.
Like nothing really matters. Nobody rushes. Like even the workers, like everybody's kind of taking their time and just doing the thing.
Island time's the real thing, bro.
And everybody's really nice.
Yeah, and they're happy as shit.
Yeah, dude. And I went through places like I was in, obviously staying at a hotel there, in an area where there was like a string of hotels, but then did like excursions that took us through like their ghettos and stuff. Dude, even in there, you never felt like there was people up to no good. I'm sure there are.
And I'm sure, but what's their poverty level like in Aruba? Is it?
I don't know.
It's not like the rest of the Caribbean, right? It must, because I've heard this from multiple people now who go like, happiest people I've ever seen.
Yeah, like even the people when you go by the I don't know, I'll call it like the ghetto, I guess. Yeah. Put quotes around that. So like the low income areas, the people are just nice and they just seem happy.
It's like,
for no reason.
Isn't that their like slogan? Like one happy island or happy,
I don't know.
I think it literally is part of their thing. But it's like, what is it about there? It's like they live in paradise, and maybe it isn't that bad, right? Like their lower income is like, okay, they're not hungry, they're not
right,
thinking, they're just like, dude, because not for nothing, man. I'm really happy. Give me some. I don't even need flip flops, bro. Give me some board shorts. I'll be shirtless on a beach somewhere. Yeah. I'm great, man. Like as much as I like being in the city and that kind of stuff, and I like being like hustle and bustle, and the island time thing drives me fucking insane. Like I can't stand people that move without a sense of purpose or like a sense of urgency. But there's something about, to me, just being on a beach, like barefoot, just walking around like that. I'm like, I love that feeling, that vibe, that just like, so maybe it's just that living in that all the time.
Dude, there was a guy that I spoke to that we went on like a snorkeling excursion, and talking to one of the guys, and I forget where he said he was from, but he's just like, yeah, like I came out here on vacation. And then kind of did this, and then like me and my buddy was just like, oh, like we can buy a boat and just do that, and he just does that. He does it twice a day. They go out twice a day. That's it. That's what he does, and he's like, it's awesome. Like I get people. He goes, we get people like you that come. We give you guys a good time, and I do that with different people twice a day, and that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do for as long as I can. And I'm like, bro, hey,
like figured it out,
bro. You fucking
made
it.
Bro. You made it, man. That's it, you figured it out. Yeah, you got the cheat code, bro. In his case, happiness wasn't $500K. It was, it was 2 trips a day on a boat, being on the water with strangers, and which is fun in itself because you imagine the flow of people you're getting there all the time from different walks of life. Yeah, that's got to be awesome, man. That's got to be hella fun to do, man.
Yeah, that was a great trip, man. My wife and I went several years ago, and even that one excursion that we did, we did a couple, but that one, we ended up getting to this coral reef where we saw a bunch of shit, but the coolest thing was we saw this like school of probably thousands of fish that are probably about 3 to 4 inches long.
Oh shit!
And they just were there like in a school, and we went into the school and the fish opened up. And then as we went into the fish, they closed around us.
No.
Yeah,
that's
bro.
cool.
So
man.
then you're like 360 going around, like your snorkel gear, right? 360 just looking around, and you're surrounded by thousands of these little like 3 to 4 inch
They're not
fish.
even trying to run away from you?
No. They let us like enter them, and they closed around us. It was the most amazing fucking experience.
Oh, wow. Bro. That's got to be so mind-blowing, man. And it's amazing because they probably understood that you guys weren't the threat. you're not the thing trying to eat
yeah,
them. You know what I mean?
right,
like,
right.
oh no, these guys don't eat us. Like it's like they can decipher. You know,
Yeah.
the shark goes through. They're like, fuck
Yeah.
run.
And
But
I remember, bro, because my wife was not a good swimmer, and so she was kind of like just holding on to me. She got like life jacket on, so do I, but she's kind of holding on to me. And then I saw the school of fish, and I'm going, and I look back at her, and I'm like, I point, and she's like,
like, nah, bro.
and I was like, like go, and we went in, and man, it was so dope because as I was getting closer, I saw they weren't moving. And I was like, okay. So then as I started to go through, they just like parted, like the red, kind of like the Red Sea, but it just kind of part
But like
and
in
closed
sync,
around
they're
us.
just like, "Brrr," and then
They closed around us, yeah. So we were just in the center of like thousands of
that's
little
so
3
cool,
inch fish. That was
man.
awesome, man.
How
So,
awesome is that, man?
yeah, I think that would be out of the places that I visited. That'd be the place.
You live there?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, for me, man, I just go like I just need enough money to live. Like I don't need a lot of
No, but
stuff.
you're a beach guy too. Like you like the
Yeah, I like
beach,
it.
and yeah. So I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, was that place for you? Is it anywhere on the beach, or maybe Aruba? Or is it-
Just a place like Aruba was amazing because it's like in the middle of nowhere essentially. The clarity of the water is insane, and you could see it even as you're flying in.
yeah.
Like the blue. I don't know how else to describe it, but these clear blue beaches that are just as clear when you get on them. It's
cool.
just insane.
Yeah, I need to
That's-
add that to my list of places to visit, man, because I've never.
It's
spoken
kind
to
of
anyone who
expensive,
didn't
man,
like
because
it.
they don't fucking like they don't. I don't know if they don't grow anything, but like milk.
You have to import everything.
Yeah,
It's an
everything's
island,
right.
So
It's an
everything's
island, so
imported.
everything's imported.
You
so,
can't
so
keep
stuff
cows
is,
on the
stuff
desert.
is expensive,
So
right?
Yeah, that's insane.
But
Dude,
the people there seem to be happy, man.
that I was gonna say that is one of those places that everybody that I know that has gone is like, that place is the best. Like I'm like I've never and the amount of people who go back, they just go back all the time. They're
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm renting 4-wheelers and going to the desert in Aruba. You're just like, fucking A, man. What is it about this place that just sucks people in?
Yeah,
man?
there was a mutual friend of ours actually recommended it to me at one point. He's just like, dude, like you want to go somewhere? Like go to Aruba. And this guy has been
everywhere.
everywhere.
I know exactly. Yeah. He's been everywhere.
Yeah, and he
go to
told me
Aruba.
that. And he's like, go to Aruba. I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, go to Aruba. And he was right.
And he was right. Yeah, and like you said, one of those people who's been everywhere, and you just go, okay, if you said Aruba,
If you said there, yeah.
then I need to go to Aruba.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. I want to stick with this vacation theme, ish, because there was this story on Reddit, or story that sort of got big because of Reddit, and it was this mom.
Okay.
This mom was on the the Reddit thread that's am I an asshole?
Oh no!
No,
I gotta get on that.
Oh, you gotta get on it. It's awesome. So the premise of it is it's a
I have some contributions.
oh we all do, bro. It's like it's a Reddit there where you go in there, you go, am I an asshole? And
For doing
because-
X, right.
for doing whatever, right? You ask a question and people weigh in, yay or nay, right?
Okay.
So this mom went on there and basically gave her whatever her whole backstory. But long story short, she wants to go. She's a stay-at-home mom. The husband works. They have multiple kids, they do all that stuff, and she wanted to take a 1-week vacation by herself. I forget where she gives the details of all that, but
Okay.
sort of irrelevant for the conversation. Is like, so she wanted to go on vacation by herself. She goes like, and her husband is basically saying that she was selfish and all this shit, and that he couldn't believe that she wanted to go on vacation by herself, and da 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 da. And so the question was, am I an asshole for wanting to have like a week to myself because I work really hard, like as a stay-at-home mom, I do everything for them, blah, 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 the whole thing. And then she's like, am I an asshole for wanting to go on vacation by myself?
No.
Thoughts? Okay.
No, not at all. Like, I think that as a society, in most like marriages, it's almost like it's believed that okay, well once you get married, now you just do everything together, and that's just not realistic. That's not who we are as humans. Like
It's not healthy.
Yeah, like yo, I want to miss you sometimes, and I can't imagine being a stay-at-home mom, and it's just like you're in the same box every day with the kids, and you're doing the routine and what have you. And I would also imagine that she probably would be fine with him going a week
Yeah.
by himself,
Yeah.
or with his boys or whatever, right?
whatever
Like,
it is.
whatever it is. It's just like, sometimes you have to just get away. So I'm wondering from the guy's perspective, does he really think that she's selfish, or is he just kind of worried? Are you worried that she's out there doing something else? You know what I mean? Like, is that the deal? Or
I
like,
actually could think. I see your point. I actually could think that he is thinking she's an asshole, because I know people like that in real life.
Yeah.
Who think like you shouldn't want to do anything by yourself. You shouldn't want to go on a vacation. You should. I feel like I know more people who would lean that way than not.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think our society, like when you say you get married, then it's just like, oh, well, now it's no longer
You're an
you.
individual. Yeah.
Now it's us.
It's us. Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, it could be us, but we can still go our separate ways and kind of do the things that we want to do. And just because I'm married to you doesn't mean I want to do everything with you.
No, you shouldn't. Again, you're individuals. You should maintain your individuality and individualism. I feel like, dude, not only do I agree that she should be able to, I actually think this should be normal to maintain healthy relationships, to sustain. I almost think that this would keep more people together than push people apart, because to your point before, it's like, we're still individuals. You should be able to do things on your own. But, dude, a vacation is also an escape from your everyday.
Right.
And your everyday includes...
Is your husband and your kids.
Your husband and your kids. And
in this scenario, yeah.
Right. In this scenario, your husband and your kids. And as much as, like, you would want to go on vacations with your family, right? You're with them every day.
Yeah.
Like, and we've all been there where sometimes vacations are more stressful than they are relaxing, because you're wrangling kids.
Yeah, and it's like you come back and you need a vacation from the vacation.
But I actually think this separate time is like almost something that people should practice as a norm, because like you said, like the distance, the absence makes the heart grow fonder or whatever the fucking quote is. It's like I actually think that part's good.
In simple terms, I want to miss you.
Yeah, I want to miss you. No, but that's the thing, right? True, I want to miss you. Like, I don't want to like I need time to miss you, right? So I need that time away, but I also need my time to actually escape and do my own thing and relax and do all that stuff. It's like, I can totally understand this scenario because, and by the way, like, I understand there's a financial component here that's probably dismissed, where like maybe they only have the money to do one vacation a year, but maybe that needs to be part of the conversation. Maybe they alternate. Maybe it's a cheaper vacation for each of them separately. Maybe, like, bruh, kids don't remember family vacations unless you did like the one cool place and all that stuff. But if you're going to like the beach for a weekend and all that stuff, like, you could do that on a Saturday. The kids will remember that too. You know what I mean? Like, unless you're taking them to like Disney and you live halfway across the world.
And to that point, we went to New York and we did, and the boys were younger, man, but it wasn't, I feel like it wasn't 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? They weren't like 6 and 5. They were probably like 12.
Okay, so old enough to remember shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we went to New York and we did we did like the tourist thing. So both my wife and I are from New York originally, but we was like, we're gonna take the kids. They've never been. We're gonna see some family one day, but the rest of the days we're gonna do the tourist thing. And we wrote down a list of shit that we were gonna hit. Empire State Building, Statue of Liberty, all that shit, right? Like Rockefeller Center, you name it. It was, matter of fact, and it was the same year that the Nintendo store opened up. So they were really into that. So we're going to go hit that, right? Whatever. We make this massive list that we go, we're not going to be able to hit it all. We do everything. None of those fuckers remember it.
Yeah?
They remember like little pieces.
And how many times in that trip did you wish you were by yourself?
None.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. There wasn't a moment there where you're like...
No, because we were like, it was cool because we thought that the list was going to be too long, and then we ended up like, it was like first day 10 at night, and then we like, what's open? Oh, Empire State Building, let's go.
Oh, nice.
So it was shit like that. So it was kind of, it was sort of planned / spontaneous at the same time. So it was a really good trip, but I really thought, and the reason why I had agreed to do it was I was like, yo, they're old enough to remember. Those fuckers don't remember anything. Yeah. Or not much.
That's what I'm saying. But
like,
you would have remembered that by yourself, or I'm sure you do.
I probably wouldn't have done all that shit.
Yeah.
But it was a good experience for us too.
No, absolutely.
We remember everything.
Dude, and there's value, obviously, in taking kids on vacation, doing stuff and exploring and doing that stuff. But I think that for this, like I'm reading and I'm like, nah, I can totally see this, because the vacation, the quote unquote checking out should be for everyone. Like, and whether that's individual or together or whatever, but like how people decide to disconnect should be up to them. Not just because you're married, it shouldn't be
it's not selfish to want to disconnect.
No, not at all.
Like, and it's not to say that I want to go and be single for a week. It's not that.
No,
it's that I just don't like. I
want to fucking cater to you guys for a week.
Like I don't want to serve my job. I don't want to serve you. I don't want to serve the children for 7 days or however long that is. Right? It's just like I don't want to. Like, I just don't want to do it. I want to just be an individual for a few days during this year. That is not anything that should be frowned upon.
I actually feel like this is a healthier way, man. But I was looking at that. It was actually overwhelmingly a lot of people were sort of supportive of her, but there were a lot of people in there that were kind of like, you're a bitch, and you know how fucking the internet gets. You cunt ass whore, you're just trying to cheat on him for a week. I was like, yo, you guys are wild.
Do you make any money?
Yeah, bro, there was a lot of those.
Yeah,
you don't even make money, you're a single mom, you don't even have a job. Wow. I'm like, damn, yo, you guys are harsh.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Listen, if your woman is home taking care of your kids, that is a fucking job in itself.
I couldn't do that shit. Fuck that.
Yeah, I would.
I love my kids. I don't want to be with them 24/7 a day like that. Like,
I don't want to be with nobody 24/7.
Yeah, no, you're right. I don't want to be with anybody that much, man. I don't even like me that much. Like, sometimes I need a break from me.
It's called sleep. 6 to 8 hours a day, I get away from myself.
Dude, we're right at an hour, man. What do you?
Oh shit!
What do you want to touch on?
I was gonna talk about. Did you see all this? Like the whole, like, this is, we're entering June.
Yes.
And it's gonna be like the Gay Pride Month.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was actually surprised that a lot of companies are like they do shit for this. Back in the day,
nobody did.
But not only that. So like back in the day, I used to work at Disney, and every day there was the same day in June every year. They didn't have. The LGBTQ community would show up.
Yeah.
In Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, it wasn't like sanctioned by Disney.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I thought Disney did it really well, because Disney was just like, yeah, like, we're not sponsoring this, but we're not turning anybody away either. And if you're if you're offended, we'll give you your money back.
You don't go that day. Just leave.
No, but and Disney was cool about it. So if you were a family and you went there and you were appalled, you can go to guest relations and they go like, like, it's not a Disney funded day for them, but if you're unhappy, here's your money back. Come back tomorrow or the next day or whatever.
Okay.
But they just allow it, right? So the community says, we're going to Disney on this day, and they just show up and they pay and they go in there and they have a good time, and most people don't care. Mm-hmm. But I see like the ones that are in the news this week is like Target. So Target, they lost like $12 billion in market share in the last like 10 days.
Oh, their stock. Okay.
Because they're being like boycotted. So they put like front and center. They had this like this kind of gay pride clothing to include like tuck friendly bathing suits.
No way.
Yeah, bro. I don't even know if that was kind of
funny.
that was kind of the tuck friendly bathing suit for the woman with a little extra up front.
That's hilarious. The woman with a little extra. Your enlarged clitoris. For that woman with, that's the commercial right there. For that woman with a little extra up front.
I'm a marketing genius.
I'd CMO. Let's hear it.
But no, man. So they had like this. They had like these displays, and it was like, like the rainbow colors and the pride and blah blah blah. I think where they went wrong was that they had clothing that had things like one of them that I saw was said trans people will always exist, but it was a kid's shirt. And I think people were just like, okay, motherfuckers.
Yeah,
like,
you can't fuck with people, animals, or elderly. Is the problem? Is like people get really sensitive about.
Or the kids, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Kids are elderly.
Sorry,
Yeah,
kids,
sorry.
elderly,
Yeah.
and animals. Yeah.
And so now, so they've been having like this like a public like outcry, and they interview some people, and what ended up happening was, I guess a big enough group of people boycotted Target, and they moved the display like to the back.
Do you care?
No, I don't give a shit. I do. I don't even know that I would look twice at it.
Me neither. I don't give a fuck.
But I don't. Yeah, I just don't. I don't care.
I also have the firm belief, like, the market will dictate whether or not people have a tolerance for it, bro.
Right.
People either buy it or they won't. Like, when I see people protesting and thinking outside and creating a big stink, I'm like, okay, first off, get a job. Like, you have nothing to do. Like, I saw people fucking breaking displays and rioting and all that stuff.
Well,
like, okay,
I think Target moved to the back. That was the reason why they moved
see it from the window and the entrance.
It was because their the employees were getting harassed.
Yeah.
And so they were just like, yo, we're not, for the safety of our employees, we're going to move this to the back. But besides them, man, they had like, we had the Bud Light thing recently.
Really quick on Target, does that diminish support? Does that sort of prove that they're just pandering and they're not actually being supportive of a group? Or do you think show concern?
No, because if you go, hey, we're gonna continue to do this, we're gonna leave it in the front, and then now you're putting your $15 an hour employee having to deal with irate customers. Like there was a dude that posted on his own TikTok that he's in there like, asking other customers, asking the employees, do you think that this is okay? This is devil worship, like that kind of shit. And so there's people coming in harassing the Target employees, and in reality, like it's like, yo, the Target employees, they
didn't make that decision.
They didn't make the decision to put that shit there. Like it's like go to the corporate office. Like if you want to do something, go boycott the corporate office.
And if you're worried about your kids are gonna see it, go be a fucking parent, bro. I feel like people are afraid to parent, and that's like half of the issue too. It's like if I saw that again, I probably wouldn't notice. But then also if my kids ask me like, let's have the conversation. Like I don't know what to. The fact that people got time for shit like that, it just still blows my mind. I mean, I'm not surprised by it, but it's just like, why do you care this much? Like it's not. I don't know. I'd be like, you should be worried why we live in a world where we have to have a gay pride month. Like why it has to be something
that's what begs the question of the not just that. It's like everything, right? Like why do we have to have a pride month for anything?
That's what I'm saying. Like, we should be more upset that we live in a world like that. And we live in a world like that because you have people who go in there and say shit like that's devil worshiping. And that, you know what I mean? Like, and it's just like, okay, bro, you're the reason why we need to have these pride months because, like, your point of view is sort of antiquated in your thought process. It's like, you don't have to agree with it, and you can hide and mask behind whatever excuse you're using to be a bigot. But it's like, to each their own. Like go be free to do that, like we let you, and then let people be free to do whatever. Like, bro, at the end of the day, man, if you're consenting adults and you're not harming, people who are who don't have the ability to defend themselves, i.e. kids, have at it. You know what I mean? Like it
doesn't really matter that much.
It doesn't matter.
And I just feel like having it's like having the Pride Month is almost a double-edged sword because it's sort of bringing light and bringing exposure to the community as a whole, which is supposed to be positive, but then you have people that just don't agree with it and think that it's just morally wrong.
Right.
And it's just like, a lot of times these people are not making the decisions to feel the way they do. They just feel that way.
Right.
It's just the way it is. Maybe they're born that way. But even like the Dodgers. So the Dodgers did. They had like an annual Pride Day, and they were bringing in the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, which is kind of like a drag group, but they're just about like nuns.
That's hilarious. Hilarious.
But again, you going when the Dodgers organization invites them, and then they have the whole like, Catholic spin on it. Like, to me, it's just
read
like
the room.
you're kind of asking for trouble, man.
You definitely are, and you're not doing any favors to that
To
community.
anybody,
so shame on them,
man.
because it's
Yeah.
like, if you're gonna pick a representative of that community to shed light and bring positivity and awareness, then you pick a group that isn't controversial, right? You don't do that, because that is like, that is like the difference between you exposing someone to the Eagles in rock and roll and Marilyn Manson. You know what I mean? Like, you got to ease someone in a little bit. Like, you can't give them the most extreme version of something, because it sort of reaffirms what they think the group is about. So that's dumb. What was the Bud Light one when I can never get my arms wrapped around? Like, I know there's controversy behind the person that they picked, but I can never really get a clear. I hear different conflicting things about why this person is controversial. But then I can never really seem to find any concrete stories online, like from reputable sources, about I think it's Dylan Mulvaney, the person that the Bud Light picked. But they do have multiple sponsors from multiple large corporations. Like, she is sponsored by not only Bud Light, but Nike and Ulta and Maybelline and all these.
Really?
Yeah. So 5 or whatever major corporations didn't fuck this up. Like, that one I struggle with, because I go, there's some controversy behind there that I've heard from people, but I've never actually seen the stories, right? So I can't really. I think
it's because of Bud Light's or Budweiser's base. That's it.
That's really what it is.
It's the base,
and it's hilarious because I think Bud Light is in a position to take that risk, because Bud Light is the largest selling beer in America, like, by far. So, like, I think Bud Light, something last year is $4.5 billion in sales. The next closest one is Modelo at like 3.7,
which Modelo is now pulling up,
right? Because people are stock buying
massively.
No, it's huge. But it's hilarious because the failure of a Bud Light is going to drop it into second place in $3 billion in sales. Like, it's most other beverage companies would murder to have Bud Light's share,
their
like market
numbers,
share, but they're shit numbers. But it's like, in relation to where Bud Light was, it's crap. But Bud Light is still the number one selling beer in America, which is like hysterical. And so maybe for them, they felt like they could take a risk. And again, I never really understood the beef behind this person, and I haven't done enough research probably, but it comes off like, like when your representative of anti-Bud Light is Kid Rock, I'm like, I can't really trust your opinion on this, bro. Like, you're sitting there fucking shooting. Bro, it's like, you'd almost be better putting, who's the fucking kid who just got away with murder? It was a cow, whatever. Got acquitted of murder. Let me use that properly. But you could have put that kid on the cover with a rifle.
Guy in like Portland. Or
wherever, or Minnesota, wherever the fuck, somewhere up there. But I'm like, you probably could have put that kid on a can of Bud Light, and you would have sold more, because of who your base is and who it's catered to, right? Like, you probably could have put that kid with an AR-15 on the cover of it, and it would have probably sales would have skyrocketed. But like, don't put a guy who thinks he's a girl, because people lose their shit. It's like so, it's so weird, man. Like, you could have had like a lineup of mass shooters going around the can, and I think people wouldn't have given a fuck. But then it's like, there's this like massive outrage. It's, I don't know, man. I would argue the fact that we find the need to have to do this stuff should bother people more than it does. I also dislike corporations being disingenuous they're jumping behind sort of a monetary opportunity and not necessarily the cause. Because if you care about the cause and you sort of stand on it.
Then stand on it.
Yeah, stand on that shit. Like, do it and then own it.
Yep.
And if you're
not for that, man, Target, hire a fucking police officer.
Absolutely.
And put him on the
because that to me shows that you're down for the cause,
right,
not down for the revenue. Because they're like, we're not taking this shit off the shelf. We still want to sell it, so we're gonna put it in the back. But you said like standing for the cause would be, nope, we still want this front and center. We're gonna hire some extra security there or whatever the fuck. Like, and that's what Chick-fil-A. What the fuck Chick-fil-A do? Because
they just hired some dude he's like the head of, what the hell is it? The head of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Which
doesn't most major corporations have that position?
Yes.
Oh, this motherfucker about to open on Sundays. People, let's go Chick-fil-A.
But I mean, like, this is, Chick-fil-A's it's a Christian company and with Christian values, and so I think that the whole thing is like, where are you going with this Chick-fil-A? I think that's kind of the public outcry is like, all right.
So people are pissed about the hire?
Oh, yeah.
That's hilarious.
I think
again,
I-
who has
it's
this
the-
kind of time? Who? I want to be mad about shit like that, bro. I want my life to be so good that I have time to be outraged about shit that affects me not even a little
bit.
like,
Yeah, like I could see if you were an employee there. If again, if things change to where you're not getting your chicken sandwich real quick and the lines get longer and things that affect you. But for the most of us,
so you know how many times I have been reached out to for a position of director, manager, whatever of diversity or inclusivity or for years. This isn't new. I can think.
How the fuck do you get that?
Because they see my fucking name, bro, and the picture, and they're like, he's got a Spanish name, but he looks Middle Eastern. We might have checked all the boxes. Get this motherfucker here, like, bro. Going back almost a decade, and I don't think I'm over exaggerating that. I have been reached out to or headhunted for positions like that.
Why haven't you ever gone on an interview?
I did once, just to hear them out, and then I kind of removed myself from the thing because I didn't like it. Like the position entailed a lot of like training and talking and giving like speeches and whatever the fuck, and I just didn't want it just wasn't my thing. But for like a pretty big company, by the way.
Okay.
So. And it would be doing like giving diversity trainings and stuff like that, and so you would be responsible for putting together like curriculums and that sort of thing. Yeah. Oh, that wasn't my thing, but I was curious as hell. Like, all right, what are you trying to do? And from what I could gather, a lot of them were like you were learning about the things, and then almost like cultural sensitivity. Yeah, like teaching employees how to deal with it, what they are, what it means. Sort of. It's almost like as a way to make the employees less, I guess, discriminatory against maybe certain groups, but. So it isn't new.
No, it's not. And most companies have them.
And most major corporations, I would argue, all of them have them.
Right.
Like, any Fortune 5 probably has this position. Yeah, it's for Fortune 500. Sorry. So people are just pissed about the hire for Chick-fil-A. They didn't even do anything yet.
It's not necessarily right. I think it's just that the not the guy that got hired. I think it's just the position, because I think it just looks like, oh, you're following these other corporate entities.
Y'all closing on Saturdays too now for the Sabbath.
Dude, man, let's end with something good, man. What's up?
You want? I'm trying to think about which one is.
What's this? You said somebody want to stay high.
Yo, this motherfucker, bro. I don't even have his name in front of me. I gotta find it, but homie found out that there's a part of your brain that's sort of responsible for being, for like dictating your high. Okay. Like if you're high, it sort of gets impacted. Yeah. So he cut a thing into his skull, and essentially, I gotta pull the thing.
At home?
Probably. Let me see where he did this shit because.
Okay, I need to know.
Yeah.
I need to know.
I
what race this guy is.
Oh,
I need to know where he lives.
Dude, are you really curious?
Like what? What's the? That's What show does that? Is that Breakfast Club?
Oh yeah.
What race is it?
Yeah. Okay, so this donkey of today. Sorry, I mean this. So he drilled a hole in his own skull to stay constantly high. So his name is Joe Mellon. He's a former member of the swingin' 60s acid revolution. I guess he described himself. Oh, wow. And he wanted to be on an indefinite trip. And this is an archaic process known as trepanation. So I guess it's something that's existed. They've known that they drill a hole in your skull in a specific part, and it gives you basically a permanent trip. And so he wanted to have this experience, so he did it himself. Drilled a hole in his head.
Dude, have you ever done acid?
Nah, dude, I have not.
I've done acid.
Yeah,
probably literally like maybe 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
Right? As a teenager.
You weren't sure you liked it or not the first couple times.
Yeah.
He said yeah.
I know. I think the first time I took it, we sort of had it planned, and it was 4 of us.
Okay.
And we said, we're going to do this because, again, what we had heard about it was just like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to pop the trip. It's going to take about an hour to kind of hit us. And then we want to be somewhere where we don't have to drive. We don't have to do anything. Like we want to be safe.
A responsible trip.
We did.
Yeah, you want to trip responsibly.
And especially because we had not done it before.
Okay. Yeah.
Or at least I think out of the four of us, maybe one or two, maybe half of us had done it, but maybe the other half not.
Okay.
But whatever. But from what we had, what the information that we had acquired was just like, yeah. We don't want to be anywhere with the drive, whatever. So what do? We went to Disney World.
Hop in a vehicle.
We went to Disney World. So we pop the trip. We get in the car. I drive. Right? So and it literally takes. By the time we got in the park, the shit was starting to hit.
And Mickey was alive at that point.
Bro, we went to Magic Kingdom. Get this shit, bro. We rode all the shitty rides, like Small World, fucking Peter Pan, like all the really little kiddie rides. They were all phenomenal.
They're amazing. See, bro, why is Disney replacing them? They should just in line hand out the little the thing that melts on your tongue. Hand out the little sheet of paper, like dissolve that, like hold that under your tongue for a couple minutes.
No, and they give you you can use a fucking magic band. It tells you when to come back.
When your high's kicking in.
Yeah. Put the fucking timer on there.
Yeah, forget spending money on new.
Dude.
Oh my god.
Some of the memories I have from that time was we're riding Small World. So you can picture it's it's funny. Probably like, I don't know, we're probably like 17, 18 years old.
Okay.
Around there. We're riding Small World. And all of us are going, yo, look at that. Oh, wow. And we're in the back of the boat.
And for those that don't know, A Small World is trash. The animatronics are the worst things ever done.
Worst ride it's ever made.
It's pretty bad.
It goes about a 1 mile an hour. It's a fucking like you're in like this kind of like this log.
It's a carny boat.
Yeah.
Basically from those old carny rides.
Yeah. And it just goes like maybe 1 or 2 mile an hour down this thing, and you just hear music, and these little animatronics are fucking moving. I guess that's probably the best way I can describe it.
Yeah,
but
it's not.
But Disney does a phenomenal job at keeping everything like bright. Like there's always like their painters are constantly painting, so there's nothing looks run down.
It always looks new. Yeah.
So when you trip on acid, when the things are colorful, it pops. It really fucking pops.
So you're like 3D, 4K,
it's just like overload. It's like a sensory like fucking. So we're looking around and we're like, yo, look at that. Oh, look at that, bro. We get to the part. There's a part where they have these hyenas, and the animatronic hyenas, they're in this laughing position, and they're rocking back and forth. And then the other thing is that it's not only your visual, it's your audio sensory. It's overloaded. So we get to that point, and then one of my boys goes, yo, look at the hyenas. And bro, we lose it.
Like good or bad? Like laughing?
No, laughing.
Okay,
just laughing.
Okay.
We fucking
start. That could have gone
Yeah,
bad.
it could have gone bad too. We start crying, bro. And I just remember this lady like turning her head like really slow, looking around. And she looks at us and she has this really big like Joker smile on. Almost like, what the fuck are you guys on?
I can't wait to get off this shit and you guys are having the time of your life.
But we did that shit, man. And that was like, and dude, the trip lasts 8 hours.
8 hours?
8 hours, bro. 8 fucking hours.
But it's 8 enjoyable hours? I'm guessing because you did it more
than
once.
I mean, it was not, yeah, but that was the thing. So like I did it more than once, but then I had enough. I think I had enough sort of like quote unquote bad trips that I go like, nah, I don't like this sucks.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine somebody going, I want to drill a fucking hole in my head, so I want to be like this all the time.
It's kind of wild, bro. Listen, and I want to do the ayahuasca and like some shroom trips. Like I do want to do that shit at some point in time. I need to look into that. But
yeah, the ayahuasca, I'm interested in that as well.
Yeah, that shit would be kind of cool. But drill a hole in your head, bro, to feel high permanently? Like, wouldn't it be better to just do the acid?
Yeah, and come off.
And come off
of it.
And then, so you can function?
Yeah.
Bro, what is day-to-day like if you're always tripping?
I can't even imagine. I knew this kid back in those high school days, man, that did it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember he would say that even when he did it so much that even when he wasn't tripping, he would have episodes to where there would be minutes at a time where he would trip.
like hallucinate and do the whole holy shit.
And then it would sort of turn off.
Isn't that the what is it? I made Ultra or whatever. The study the CIA did, and they use a lot of acid and all that shit in like the 70s, and they were like. There's all these theories. That's what it created, like Charles Manson and all these other kind of people.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I heard that.
It's like an obvious name, but anyway, MK Ultra. That's what it was. MK Ultra, and but they use acid to over time sort of condition people, and I guess some properties of it like help you manipulate brains or their behavior, and over time you keep doing it, or you can make them believe certain things, and I don't. But there's like fascinating stories about the CIA and experimentation with that in the 70s that is super crazy to use like for mind control and that sort of shit, or to paranoia, or to make you seem like a lunatic, or like we want the people to think this guy's crazy, ruin his credibility, or like shit like that.
It'll do that, bro.
Yeah, dude. So there's all these like crazy stories about them using acid like for shit like that, where like the government did that type of shit. Like I believe that. There's fascinating. Yeah, you gotta go down that rabbit hole one day, man. Like there's some really crazy with that whole MK Ultra thing. Like there's just some really crazy stories behind it.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts, man.
It's nuts, bro.
Yo, this on that, tell them where they can find us.
Trippin' at the Kingdom, evidently.
That's the name of the episode.
You right. Oh shit, man! If you're not already following us at the Carbon Football Podcast on Instagram, Carbon Football Pod on TikTok, the Carbon Football Podcast on YouTube, at Carbon FP Pod on Twitter, the Carbon Football Podcast page on Facebook, and then all your favorite streaming platforms: Audio, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, GeoSavic, Ghana, Pocket Cast, Podchaser, Google Cast, YouTube Podcast. Actually now just released, so if you have YouTube Music, they actually have a section now for YouTube Podcasts, so we'll be on there. YouTube Podcasts on the visual side as well, so it's not just regular YouTube, we're actually included in the YouTube Podcast segment as well. And yeah, make sure you guys like and subscribe and follow us on there, because it helps with the algorithm, man. So the more you guys are liking the videos, the more you guys are following, it helps sort of keep us up and easier for other people to find us. And
absolutely,
tell your pizza man, tell everybody, listen.
Yo, before we go, this week, Memorial Day, shout out to all the veterans. Obviously the ones that are gone, and the ones that are still with us. We remember you and the families that served alongside of you.
Absolutely.
And as always, we appreciate you guys, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.
Peace.
Peace.